Welcome to Why the Artist Bleeds. I'm your host, Venus Bleeds, an artist who is trying to discuss with other artists their systems, their physical, mental, and environmental systems, how they experience mental health, patriarchy, feminism, creativity, and productivity. We are humbled by the beauty of communication and the power sharing voices has on each other. Well, because we all come from the same blood. Here we are joined by our lovely Thx4Crying. Thanks for coming here. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thx4Crying is a queer artist based in Paris who works with the likes of Pomme and many incredible other beautiful queer artists also in the scene. He is known for his unique sense of style and his portrayal of vulnerability in the male and female spectrum to allude that vulnerability is not a weakness, but instead a strength. Okay, so Thx4Crying. Why don't you, I'd like to know more about your name. I think the first way I connected with you actually was through your name, and I found you, I think, online through that name because I was very inspired by tears, and I think tears are a thing for us where we kind of volcanically express ourselves through them, and through every tear and through the art of crying you kind of discover yourself. And I want to know, I remember that's when I followed you, and I said to myself, I'd love to meet this person one day and discuss with them about that, and I know that they understand that art of vulnerability. So tell me more about that.
I think I had, like, in my life, I had like phase where I didn't cry a lot and everything like got stuck inside, and it's a like moment of my life that I don't understand yet. Like for me it's like a few years where I don't know how to look at it and how to recognize myself at this moment.
Right.
And so after this, like, I don't know what really happened, but maybe when I was like 24 or 25, there is like a little twist and where I felt like that I could maybe more express myself, and I had like I felt that I was ready to share more of myself, and maybe I met also people that could understand me and everything. And so I cried a lot, and at this moment I remembered also that it's very nice to cry because it feels good actually to let the emotions like come out, and
I agree, and I think like especially, I mean, I don't know what you identify as in terms of gender, but for me, I'm gender fluid. If you would like to share what your identity is.
Actually, I don't know.
Great. For me, the idea of male femininity has always inspired me only because of how political it is and how much I owe it to myself and all the community of other people who are suffering from this kind of masculine identity that puts them in this box or square and forces them to completely repress their emotions. Like, we know who those people are. There are family, there are friends, there are coworkers. And it's so inspiring to dedicate kind of a portion of your work just for that. And I think it's so inspiring also when a lot of my cis straight friends come to me and tell me, you know, I became so inspired just by being more emotional, listening to your music, or just seeing queer people act with emotion. And it's so beautiful because this is what bonds us, you know,
of course,
our pain as a community. So I want to know also, like, what how your experience is in that community, in your femininity, because I know we both have a form of femininity in our work that is kind of unexpected by us, because it's not a kind of performative femininity where people might think it's kind of there to empower women, which obviously is the case of any form of femininity. But I think with artists like us who are keen on being ourselves more than being political, and the politics comes naturally after.
Yeah.
We also face a lot of prejudice, at least on my end, that a lot of people have called me, for example, like hypersensitive and things like, it doesn't need to be this dramatic. Or this
I understand.
feminine. Also in the dating scene, also in this sexual aspect of it, I feel like having a body, especially where I come from, I'm an Arab hairy man, and I think you are also quite like hairy looking. So we're always expected to perform a way of like gender that either is like, okay, this person's a voguer, or this is a gym bro. So tell me more about your experience with that and how femininity has been kind of a struggle.
Yeah, actually, it was very slow for me. Like it came very like from time to time. So like I remember, well, I think I was like in Montreal the first time, and I was like having a gig, and I was like, oh, maybe I could I could put some lipstick on, and I was like, oh my god, I'm putting lipstick, and then I loved it, and I was like, wow, it's crazy. Like I feel so happy with just my red lips and
the Hannah Montana lip gloss. This is me. This is real.
Yeah, exactly. And so and after this, I just like got used to put some makeup on and sometimes wear dresses, and mostly also in my artistic performances.
Right.
Well, but as well as much as sometimes just in a normal day. But I understood, like I remember like when I was a little child, I was like raised by like a lot of Bollywood culture and movies and everything, and I was like obsessed by some actresses of the movies, and I felt like this was like my entire life, and what I should become. And I took time to notice that I wasn't obsessed by like the male actors, that I really didn't care about them. What I wanted was to be like the beautiful like heroine of the movie that sings dramatic songs.
Like the heroine Bollywood actresses, oh my god. Everyone I think wants to. They just it's incredible, like all the effort they put, and it's like kind of like the ultimate she-wolf energy.
Yeah, exactly. So there was this, and then actually I feel lucky because I can, with the people I work with and everything, I'm not like asking myself a lot of questions about what does it mean to me to show this or this of my femininity or masculinity or everything. It's like just I go where I feel like comfortable, and everyone is like okay, we'll go like this, and so yeah, I feel quite lucky about this.
It's also a kind of point, I don't want to say enlightenment, because like who are we to be enlightened, right? But it's kind of a point of like self-individuation, maybe, to reach a point where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I talked about this with previous podcasts with Antonio's. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm here. I'm just doing what I feel.
Yeah.
And when you're aligned with just like your emotions to the world, you realize, oh, people actually don't mind it that much, because people don't mind what you feel. They mind if you're being yourself, I think. And that's what confidence is too. It's like, is this person being themselves entirely? That's, to me, is confidence more like, is this person like putting on a mask and being someone else? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that is beautiful. I mean, I can see some of the theatrics in your work, which inspires me too, and the theatrics in my work too, that comes from a lot of Ingmar Bergman films, you know, and horror movies that were extremely dramatic, like Psycho, and that's Hitchcock. But just that the idea that reality is boring, and sometimes it's beautiful, but sometimes I want to create my own fantasy, and I don't want to have to deal with why I'm doing it. Sometimes you just want to watch TV as a kid and be that actress wearing that amazing like belly dancer couture or whatever you want to call it. And I remember as a kid, like I was doing all these things and wearing my mom's shoes, and I never asked myself the way I would ask myself now as an adult, why am I wearing heels? Why am I wearing wigs? Why am I putting makeup? And I think like having that inner child in you to kind of, in a way, recklessly just go in the world and be like, I don't know why I decided to put a goat on my head or bleed to death in my new record, running in the middle of an airport till I broke my knee, but I did it, and it feels great.
Yeah, if it feels right, I think it's the only like truth.
Yeah, that's very important. That if it feels right, it's the only truth, and another version of the truth isn't important. People become so obsessed with chasing the truth, you know. Are we here from God, or are we, you know, is being gay or queer genetic, or is it not? Do you learn it, or are you brainwashed from American media? And it's like, okay, sis, I mean, if it happened, you know, like, and besides, if it was the media, I mean, I've been watching straight movies since I was a kid, and that never changed.
Yeah, it doesn't make you straight.
Yeah, because also a little tiny note, I'd like to point to the audience there that a straight is not a heterosexual. There's a difference. I have amazing heterosexual friends that are not straight. They are beautiful and not boring. Anyway, let's talk about your latest EP, which we have here with us today. Thank you so much for bringing me
with pleasure
this incredible cover. It's also shot by your partner, as I know. Incredible work. I'm a huge fan of his work. Tell me more about the project and the concept behind it, and maybe the new single, so we can maybe give it a preview.
So the EP is called Montagne D'ameraudes, so Mountain of Emeralds, I guess. So it's also the name of a song in the EP. So it's basically about about just what you told just before, like about, you know, feeling the need to create like another world, you know, because you don't fit with like your reality. And for me, it's very connected to my teenage years.
Yeah,
like I think like in all of my songs, I have this I always write some songs that are about my life now, but it's connected away to a memory from when I was like 16 or 17. Yeah. So I feel very close to my to my emo teenager. Yes.
That's incredible. You know, it reminds me when I was 17, I used to keep a journal. And
yeah, me too.
Actually, that journal Lady Gaga signed, which was
wow,
insane. I don't know how I found her in the Dubai airport. I can actually tell you the story. Do you want to hear the story? It's
yes,
so funny.
please.
Oh my god! So we had this. We were going. I think it was the Art Rave tour.
Okay.
And it was so crazy funny because we were in this like little monster group, you know, back in the day, and there was like this WhatsApp group dedicated to the show. And the fans would like be like, "Hey guys, so Gaga just posted a picture of her on the plane." And then they went and they analyzed all the planes that have the same furniture as
Okay.
as the one in the picture.
Yeah.
So they knew they knew which plane she was on, and that's how they knew when she's arriving.
Okay.
So we basically did like our, little codesters thing, and it ended up being like, okay, guys, we're gonna split up into 3 terminals, and every terminal has like 5 people should go there. And for some reason, the terminal I went to with my mom, she was there. She signed my journal.
Wow.
But anyway, the point of that story is to why this journal is so important is because that literally is the journal where I wrote Catharsis, my new record that was released last year. And I realized, like, when you're 17, you have like this immense kind of naked knowledge that comes to you. And then you realize it inspires most of your career's work. And then you spend most of your life trying to get back to that state of mind when you were 17.
Yeah.
So it's really great that you wrote a record about it, Montagne D'ameraudes. Actually, let's listen to a preview of Montagne D'ameraudes.
Yeah, with pleasure.
Et je reste solitaire. La fin de la terre et je reste solitaire. La fin de la terre et je reste solitaire. La fin de la terre et je reste solitaire.
All right, so that was amazing. Can't wait to hear the full record. I don't have a CD player, but I think I'm gonna buy one just to play this.
I can send you a link also.
Cool, La Fin de la Terre. Speaking about emeralds, I used to play this game when I was also 17. The peak of our golden age. It was called Tales of Graces. I don't know if you know it.
Maybe. Like, yeah, the name tells me something, but...
It's a series of Japanese, I don't know if it's indie because it was a big major, but a series of games called Tales of. And I remember I played this game and it was crazy. Like there was this woman called Sophie and she was searching for God, and then she kind of like finds God in the end after like a series of like extreme battles, and she kind of faces her, and then she wins, and then she kind of realizes that actually God is in the center of the earth, and it's an emerald. It was like in a chakra, like jewel, and the emerald is called Elith.
Okay.
And the crazy part is when I was playing this game, before that, like I had been 2 years writing poems for a woman called Elith.
Oh, really?
And I had no idea who that woman is. And
oh, wow.
At the time, I thought she was like my daughter. And, I was obsessed with becoming a mother. Still am. But, yeah, like for me, Emerald reminds me so much of that name, Elith. I don't know why.
Oh, it's beautiful, actually. Okay.
But it's a beautiful color, and it comes from the earth, too. Is there a reason why you chose to talk about emeralds in specific?
I think so. I think it's like, yeah, in my mind it was like something like the most like pure color and stone I could imagine, like and also peaceful, like I imagine a mountain of emerald and like being like the broken like chevalier. I don't know the name in English.
The broken prince.
Yeah, somehow.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I see that also in the cover.
Yeah.
It's kind of like also indicative of what's this huge mythological this story about I forgot the name. It was a classic, like the guy who basically rips the sword from the stone.
Yeah.
It was a very famous classic, and at the time, actually, it was kind of made to kind of, it's like the Venus to the male, like that guy who takes out the sword, and the story was about if you were the person who could be able to take out the sword, you would be, you know, the king of the throne or something.
Yeah, and you can save the world.
Yeah. I want to know, in terms of kind of dealing with your own insecurities and dealing with your own systems too, because you also have a lot of things going on. I know you're going on tour.
Yes.
and
Well, I'm supposed to.
It's really cool seeing you put the work on your presence. And I followed you, I think, last year or 2 years ago, and since then I've just seen you grow miraculously, and it's so beautiful. And I want to know, what systems do you go through? Because we talked last week about how in the new TikTok era, everything is becoming so fast that our identities are being kind of reduced to how much content we have to put every single day consistently, and how to, you know, get the right audience, and how to get the 3-second hook. And if you don't, you know, make the reel that's 3 seconds in attractive, people will skip. And it's difficult because our art is about our traumas and our life and our beauty, and it's hard to be like, okay, how can I manufacture that into a Tinder-like profile, 3-second swipe? So tell me more about how you manage your time and how you manage your systems. Tell me more about that.
Well, actually, it's always a little complicated because, yes, with so many different medias and everything, I feel very pressured, like, to do a lot of different things. So my mind is really like full of ideas of what I could do because I think it could be nice and everything. But at the same time, reality always like take me back to like what's the most important and what I really want to do and what I feel pressured to do, but it's not really something I feel that I feel important for me. And so I think I'm trying to trust like myself on this, like if
your own pace.
Yeah, if something like feels to be like the a right thing to do, or something that can bring that I don't know, that can matter for me, or that will like really bring something about my music or something like this. Well, I will do it, but yes, it depends. And apart from this, it's always complicated, I think, productivity and everything when you're an artist, because it's like at the same time I feel very lucky to do some music, and at the same time I feel always guilty because it's like I don't suffer enough. So
the disturbed artist. Oh my god, art school things.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like, oh my god, I should produce more, like, to earn this art life.
I should break up with my imaginary boyfriend to write a new record. Oh my god, actually, on that note, it's so funny, the new Björk album came out, and I've been like waiting to like to date someone to listen to it.
Oh, really?
Because like for me, her albums are so intense, and and I realized that's so funny. Like I'm actually been waiting to kind of have a breakup or a sad experience to listen to it. It's crazy how like we take sometimes art too seriously. But no, upon what you were referencing, I think like people have different wavelengths, and as artists, our wavelengths are even more profound because we wear them on our fucking face and, you know, hair and music. And the most important part, I think, of anyone listening to this that wants to be a creative or even is an artist. I mean, I don't even know if I'm an artist or you're an artist. We might not be human. But the point is finding your own tribe And if you have a good team that are understanding of that wavelength of, okay, this person is creating this for this purpose, and if that resonates with your team, that's enough for you to create.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
I have this kind of suffering of, with my systems, is that I do almost everything myself. You know, the YouTube videos, the podcast, and the music, the production, the film, the editing, the performance, the singing, the shows, the music videos. And it's really a struggle because I haven't found that kind of team yet. And it takes time. And I keep telling myself, if it's going to take you 10 years, let it take 10 years.
Yeah, and sometimes you can like try to work with someone, it doesn't work. Yeah.
And especially in this industry, people will befriend you. They will try to, you know, do so many ways to just get in your circle, just to kind of feed what they have to offer in their ego. Like, I used to be in Beirut and, you know, get all these, it's in my song Revelation, where I say, I'm tired of, you know, all these backstage clicks. So I stayed in bed, keeping it all written. And it's like being invited to all these like backstage, you know, artist events of like, hey, come, you know, I'm DJing, bring your friends. And it's like, I used to have 150 friends and none of them is someone I can like call anytime and feel like I can depend on.
I understand.
So it's very easy to get used as an artist and a creator or creative, because what you offer for the world is something that so many people are looking for, which is 1, self-esteem, 2, a purpose and meaning, 3, kindness, because a huge part of what we do too is a form of kindness to ourselves and to the world.
Yeah.
And this is why I get so pissed when we treat each other like as creators and artists as like this kind of constant competition that is so present in already the Elon Musk world. We don't need to bring this to like the fucking queer scene where we're all trying to, you know, make our stuff just shine. I have one last question for you before we end this beautiful chat. And I want to know what you would advise someone who is 17 listening to this, or what you would advise yourself at 17 after going through all of this. What is a mistake that you have done that you would tell that earlier version of yourself or the kid that's listening not to do?
I think what it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, it's a hardcore podcast.
No. Actually, thanks for asking. But I think what I did when I was a teenager was to, because it was a very complicated moment, like for a lot of queer persons, like, you know, it's like the moments with families and school and everything.
Yeah.
And so what I did was to like cut off every link with like reality, you know, like I stopped like sharing emotions with the people around me for like many years, and I sometimes felt that I was like wrong, or that or I felt guilty, and that I should make more efforts, that actually I was the problem of all this. And that would be like what I would say to someone who is 17 and who goes through the same thing. It's like you're not the problem of of all of this.
Reality is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so nice to hear. Yeah, and when you're a kid, you have no one to blame but yourself, because your brain is developing and you're trying to mirror. You know, as children, we like to kind of mirror our icons and our ideals. This is why music saved us, because we kind of saw those people on TV or on YouTube at the time.
Yeah, really. And at this moment, like I started to write songs in English because I knew that no one around like could understand the lyrics, but I could still say what I feel, but no one will know what it is. But yeah, music really.
That's so nice.
Really saved.
Yeah, and when you're a queer kid at our time, 19, 20, I'm kidding, we're still young, but at our time there was barely any queer representation in the media, so we had to blame ourselves. I mean, I went through conversion therapy, I remember. Myself, I took myself there and I paid for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought, like, why the fuck am I in this room, in this village, being the only person who wants to wear high heels and dance on the table and sing? Like, why is my experience only mine? And it drives you crazy as a kid. Like, why am I going through this? I want to do this, this, and that. I want to take off my clothes and just produce something and make this project or pose for the camera, but no other kids in my class or my family or my uncles done that. All they keep telling me is, be a man and wear a suit, or be a woman and serve your husband, or be a lady and close your legs and whatever. So it's hard, but hopefully kids nowadays have like media to podcasts like this, hopefully, if anyone's listening. That's why I made this podcast, is to kind of give this information to my younger self too, the younger self that didn't have access to two queer people talking about mental health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy, and I love. You guys should see what they're wearing today. It's incredible. The lollipop earrings, the purple sweater, the t-shirt that says "love" in an amazing font.
Oh no! Thank you.
God, I'm obsessed with you, baby. And let's hopefully see you guys in the next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Why the Artist Bleeds with Venus Bleeds, and I'll catch you next week. Bye bye. Peace.